The following presentation is part of the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
To the Bombadcast. What is up, Bombad fam? It is me, your favorite host, the most important one, Scotty Jarrow, and I'm here to talk about a couple of things at the top of the show to make sure we have some, regular housekeeping stuff. Here at the Bombadcast, we are actually part of a bigger network, and yes, talking about that one right there, Beyond the Blast Doors network, some of the best people around the Star Wars community. And, you have to realize this. There's a Patreon for all this, but I'll get to that later. So if you like this show, if you're a fan of the Bombadcast, you'll be a fan of everyone else on this network. This network right here. Those people are Around the Galaxy with Pete Fletzer. We've also got Postcards from Galaxy's Edge. We've got the Holochronicle Boys. Good-looking people. Beyond the Blast Doors Alive, the only live weekly Star Wars talk show and news review show. And then we got Streaming Star Wars, also a great live show. And yes, we are also a part of that wonderful network. And if you have a lot of money or no money at all, and you feel like giving it to us because we're the best, please do so. You'll be supporting 6 separate shows with about 7 different hosts. And any little bit of money helps us work towards a bigger goal, each goal. And also at the end of this episode, we actually have an announcement for some pretty cool stuff that the Bombadcast will be doing. Very, very excited. You can find everything you want at beyondtheblastdoors.com. No spaces between there. It's exactly how you spell it. So make sure you follow us at Bombadcast on Twitter. If you want to take some time to leave a like on this video or go follow us on all your social media accounts. I'm talking about the secret Twitter you have for your My Little Pony obsession. Make sure you take your time and review us on iTunes if you're listening there on that platform. And yeah, pretty much that's it. So I think it is time to start the show. And yes, this episode's going to get pretty interesting. We're talking about a very particular topic. Before we get into that topic, I got to bring in my broski, my jabroni himself. Yes, I'm talking about the Ewok that I do the show with. The one and only Gerald, the Candle Junkle. Jerry, what is up?
Hey, Scotty, how you doing, buddy? It's good to be here on yet another
Jerry,
day in
where's
the
your
future.
hat? Where's your hat?
What?
You have hair?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Sorry. What happened?
Check this out.
It is hotter than the My Pillow under Donald Trump's butt in the Oval Office in here, and so that hat is like it's like wearing a thermal heated blanket on my head for some reason. It's very thick. I love my Canon Junkie. I tried to make that my signature hat. I just couldn't take it this time. I'm sitting down here sweating my ever-loving balls off. And
as Troy would say, it's hotter than a Balsacian in here. That's a Troy. It's a Troyism. So hopefully, Troy, if you're listening, that's one of the few things that I'll take away from you for the rest of my life. It's like a Star Wars creature. Oh, that's just a Balsacian.
It's hotter than a window at a Krispy Kreme while Donald watches them go through the conveyor belt and stuff. So
why is that? I would do that. Let's be honest.
I do. Let's be honest. We all do that. We all do that.
That's exclusive to everyone that goes into a Krispy Kreme.
That's true. I'm sorry. I'll take it easy on the big guy. I'll take it easy.
Did you know what I did this past weekend? Guess what I did this past weekend?
What did you do this past weekend, sir?
a fan of the show, a friend of the show, Eric Cotterman, decided to finally say, Scotty, I've had enough. It's been a year and like a month. That literally rhymed. That was so unintentional. Scotty, it's enough. It's been a year and a month. That will go down in history as the best Bombad line. Anyway, so Jerry, Eric was like, it's a stretch, but dang it. Eric at some point said,
I'm too handsome without the hat on. That's why I wear it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
My breath has been taken away. I'm
sorry. I don't have the hat on. I've got my just tousled hair, my chiseled beard, my avocado shirt on. I don't want to say avocado. I say avocado.
Cat.
I was gonna wear my toast T-shirt with it, but I left it in the dryer too long and it burnt. So I couldn't wear the toast shirt. Sorry.
Okay, so I was that was so dad. Oh my god. Well,
let me know on Twitter if you like that joke.
We'll clip it out. Make sure it's exclusively
avocado toast. I'm technically a millennial, so I do like avocado toast.
Yeah, from what I've read, it's your people that are obsessed with it. So I was hanging out with Eric the past couple of nights, and what?
No, keep going. I didn't mean to make it a thing. I was gonna say because you said your people, and I thought of a comeback that was like, we're just gonna keep going down this road. We need to end this road now.
It's you who started the road.
I was gonna say, well, Generation Z, your people are, according to the boomers, ruining America with your Antifa. Your bus is full of
hanging out with Eric last weekend.
Anti-fascists who love fascists.
We're having a lot of Jerry's in a mood. We were hanging out this past weekend. Eric
looked at Facebook before I came on here. I'm sorry, everybody. I got to get off of there.
Thank you. I was hanging out with the one and only Eric Cotterman. You know him? Do you know him?
Love that man. You know him? Love that man.
You know him? Okay, so
yeah, I know him. That's a terrible Paul.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
I miss Paul. Paul doesn't come on as much as he used to.
No, he doesn't. He's been busy. Literally, all I hear every day.
He's doing good at the social distancing, right?
Yeah, he's been playing the same lick for like the past week, and I don't. Hold on, I'll show you. I literally learned it.
I thought you were gonna open the door. Like you just hear it like pouring in from his backyard.
He's been playing the intro to Detroit Rock City on repeat, and he knows the song. He wrote it. He's going. He's been playing that over and over again. That's all I hear. I just hear it, and like every now and then it'll be very quiet. Just be like, it's like he's trying not to forget it, but he's been playing it since like 1978. I don't know why he keeps practicing the same lick to Detroit Rock City.
Well, Scotty, practice makes perfect, right? And he is a professional. You don't get pro without practice.
But dude, it's the
unless you are Scotty and Jerry of the Bombadcast,
you're right.
And you get a over 6 million view video.
Yes, of course. You're the greatest.
Crying. It's the best.
So, my wonderful friend Eric has been brought up for like 10 minutes. Eric was over and he said, it's been enough. It's been a year and a month, just like Dr. Seuss would say, that we needed to watch something. Okay. And I've been on the back burner watching it. And Jerry has even been in my ear this year in particular and say, you need to watch it. So
I needed to say it more.
Yeah. And it got to the point to where I said, you know what? I never do this. I really don't. I'm not a binger. Never have been. I don't know if I ever will be. But we started around 5:00 Friday, watched 4 episodes, then watched the other 4 episodes. The next day, I binge watched season 3 of Stranger Things, and it was one of the best decisions I've made this entire summer. Honest to God, it was so good. It was so good.
Very apropos with what's going on with coronavirus. Stay 6 feet apart or you will melt into genetic material and become part of a giant amalgamation flesh monster.
So
Horrifying.
At the top of this whole thing,
Spoilers. Spoilers, by the way.
When watching it, I kept thinking, yeah, spoilers will be
for a year.
It's been a year and a month, but some people might not even watch Stranger Things. If you don't, the first part of this episode will be why you should. Then the second part of this episode essentially is us gushing about the third season.
How dumb you are.
The ending, if you're listening, we have a pretty big announcement for Bombadcast. So you really need to stay tuned. This stuff won't come out. This information won't come out for a little while until we're ready to announce it publicly on Twitter. But we've got a new thing coming up for Bombadcast that Jerry in particular is the developer of it.
For the Beyond the Blast Doors network, you might say.
Yep.
But we should digress right now.
So before we even start the conversation, thank you, Eric, for making me watch it. I love you, dude.
Eric,
hopefully you listen to this. I am very thankful that you pressure me to watch it, and I know Jerry is also very thankful because this conversation we're fixing to have is going to be a very good one.
I thought I was getting punked today. Honestly, when you texted me and said that you had watched it, I was like, you're lying,
dude. It was so good. I don't want to give it away just yet. So if you haven't watched the show, and if you want to have a way to kind of ease you into the show, this is the conversation you want to have, because the comparison we will be making is how Star Wars and Stranger Things are very much alike, and this is strictly from a storytelling point of view. We'll bring up some Easter eggs, but we're gonna kind of take a deep dive as to why that show, Stranger Things and Star Wars, just go so well hand in hand, and why we would want the creators of that show to make their own Star Wars. But Jerry, what this is how I'm going to start it. Jerry, what got you into Stranger Things? What was the thing that kind of pushed you into it? Because I know it came out, I believe, in July of 2016 or August of 2016. And
I believe so, yes.
For me, it took a while. I had heard the hype around it. It took some friends in college tell me, like, hey, you got it. But what was yours? What was your experience with it, man?
Before it actually came out, actually, I think I found out like a couple weeks before. I'd heard they'd been advertising it for a month, right? And I'd seen the poster, which the first like teaser poster kind of thing was like, it was the three of the four main like boys, the characters. Three of the main characters. It was the Dustin and Lucas and and who? Did you say Nutjob?
No. I'm sorry. No, I meant to say not Will. Will was the
not Will. Not Will. It's Mike. Mike.
Yeah.
But kids on their bike, and they were babies then.
Mm-hmm.
Looked very Spielberg, very like, very Stephen King. You know, both the creepy Stephen and the very like magical Stephen, both crushed into one. And the title, Stranger Things, there was like Will's bike on the ground. There was the fence of the compound there in Hawkins, the Department of Energy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is this? Is this like and then I read about it. It was like, it's like almost like a Spielberg, like a tribute to the Spielberg era, like the era 80s and like the movies you guys know, I think I've said it before, the 80s are like probably my favorite decade for movies. Like a lot of my favorites came out in the 80s. I was born in 87. So I'm like right at the tail end. I consider myself more of a 90s baby. But I was there the last couple years of the 80s. And I mean, Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Star Wars, Back to the Future. I mean, you name it, man. It was in my vocabulary because my parents also liked those things, right? You know, so I like them. Now I like them more than them.
Of course.
Because, you know, our people of our generation just like to go full bore into what we love. And so nothing wrong with that. But it just, that's what I saw first was that.
Yeah.
And we binged, Allison and I, the first season And like when it came out, as soon as it came out, I mean, it was just 8 episodes. We basically powered through it in 2 days.
So you were one of the first people to have watched it, I'd imagine.
Yes.
Before it caught on. And dude, did it catch on? Cool.
Oh my gosh, like fire. And everyone thought it was going to be like everyone thought it was going to be a what do you call it? An anthology series, right?
Yeah.
Where each season was going to be a new story, like a new sci-fi 80s kind of story. And that Stranger Things was like, it's going to be like the new Outer Limits or something.
Or American Horror Story. Yeah.
American Horror Story, but like something more like that felt like it was from the 80s and stuff. And I mean, man, as soon as that intro starts with the old school and the music that they had, like they picked a band. It's a band. It's an actual band, I think, based out of Atlanta.
Yeah, it is.
They make music and stuff. I've never listened to any of their other music, but their score for Stranger Things is, I think, my favorite television score of all time. That's my favorite like television like theme and that's my favorite television opening, bar none, period.
Yeah.
Like it beats everything for me.
It is. It's phenomenal.
Even the Lost and stuff.
It makes me tear up. Something about it is just so powerful. And
the first time you see it, we watched it, Scotty, in a dark room. It was at night, all our lights were off, and that first strain start with the and I was like,
hooked.
Dude, I love this. What is this? Like it's magic, man. They captured the magic. It felt like you were back there, but modern. And anyway, I'll stop. I skipped to the gushing part too early. But anyway, go ahead. When did you first get your first impression of it?
So this is exactly how it went down. It's very interesting because in Louisiana at the time, let me look it up real quick. If I'm not mistaken, Stranger season 1, I think it's been it had to have been like July, right, Jerry? It was July 15th. July 15th is when it released.
Okay, so took place November though, which was perfect. Yeah. Anyway.
To give you a window into my life at that time, it was not very good for me at all, because my dog of 15 years had just died, which is really kind of sad. But literally 10 days later, my grandpa would have passed away, and we were there at his deathbed, everything. Troy and I's grandpa passed away literally 10 days after that release. And I think we were actually we were on the Jarrow Beach trip when it came out. Then, kid you not, 2 weeks later after that, Jerry, 2 weeks later after that, a flood hit Louisiana, and like my house, my mom's house was ruined. Like literally, dude, it was like one thing after another. So real life, and nothing got back to normal until about the beginning of October, end of September. Like truly, like 6 weeks after the flood, school got back to normal for most people down here. Everything kind of just fell back into place. And I remember my buddy Chase saying, "Hey man, you've got to watch the show. You will love it." And he was an RA at the time for our university. And he was like, other RAs told me about it. And he goes, "It's literally all up your alley. Like, Scott, you will love this show." And I'm like, all right, let's give it a chance. And of course, this is a typical Katieism. If anyone knows her, we watched that opening. I remember the opening scene vividly, Jerry. The opening scene of the first episode is the man running down the hallway in the lab coat, freaking out. The lights are flickering. Yep. And then the light gets brighter, brighter, brighter. Something grabs him, and then it cuts to the opening. Okay. And I got chills talking about it because she looked at me and she goes, "Turn it off. I'm not watching this." And I'm like, no, it's got to get better. Chase has watched the whole thing already. It's got to get better. It's got to, because my buddy Chase, he loves the 80s movies. He loves pretty much anything that you and I watch. Chase and I grew up watching all the John Hughes, Ferris Bueller, we love those movies. And so he's like, "It is up your alley, dude. You got to watch it." And so I'm like, I don't know, let's hold it out. And then the end of the first episode, when the first episode ended, she was like, "Okay, I like this." And so we didn't binge it. I think every other night we watched an episode. And then by the time the last 3 episodes came around, we had to finish them consecutively. And dude, since then, it was like this thing I couldn't miss. And season 2 came out. I watched 4 episodes one night and 4 episodes the next day. I had to. And then season 3 came out. And I don't know if it was because there was such a long time disconnect, or if there was, I don't know what it was, but I didn't give myself
years in between, right?
Yeah, it was like 2 years. I didn't give myself enough time to watch the next season, and I just gave myself time this past weekend. And I don't know. It's important to mention that this show was there for a pivotal moment in my life, and I'm so excited to know that it's going to keep going on. And I don't know. There's many things I really enjoy that I really like deep lore dive, and that was one of them. And I'm very happy that I jumped back on the wagon because it appears that the next season might not come out to 2021, and that's fine.
Dude, everything, yeah. I think they've done a little bit of filming. Obviously, there was a teaser for season 4, but
I frankly believe my interest, unfortunately, if I had watched it back then, my interest might not be as peaked as it is right now. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Because from 2019 to 2021, that's a long time,
right?
And I say that, but we'll see. You'll be the one to prove me wrong. But Jerry, I can't talk about this show enough because there's one really important thing we have to mention. It follows Star Wars in the sense of storytelling more than I think most people give it credit for. And one of the biggest ones is the fact that there is a hero's journey in each season. Like one character or a group of characters always has a hero's journey where they have everything at first and they lose it, then they have to get everything back. And it's just like there's always like the best thing about this show is that there's always this 4 or 5 different storylines that weave into one that are perfectly executed. And I don't know. That's the thing that impressed me the most about the show. And I don't know if you know this, but apparently TNT, like a bunch of huge networks, had the rights to do this show at first. And the Duffer Brothers insisted to have multiple plot lines. And this is literally what the network said to Duffer Brothers. They said this to them: viewers are too stupid to follow this. Viewers are not smart enough to follow this. And so
those executives are too stupid to know what people really want, dude.
And it's 100% true because
that's why YouTube exists. Look up, this is what it means.
Exactly. And
all of us dummies.
Yeah,
I just say for all of us dummies. I don't need them.
No.
But you might. It's okay.
But the funny thing about it is this show works so well because of the thick plot lines and the amount of attention you have to pay to it. If you watch it fully, you have a out of body experience when they all tie together, and you're like, man. And there's one thing in season 3, Jerry, that I think is in season 3 in particular. I'll bring it up later. I'll just give you a hint. The part that literally was the biggest payoff for the whole season was the Suzy thing. I did not see that, dude. I'm getting talking about it. If Star Wars could pull anything like that off successfully, that would be it's unreal. That Star Wars can't get near that. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but that thing in particular was phenomenal. It was gotten better. It was perfect.
And I mean, this is a 8-hour movie. I mean, these are cinematic. This is the most cinematic show
on Netflix. Oh yeah, of course.
It's like it doesn't feel like a television show. Every episode is a movie, and I'm like, I gotta see the next one.
Yes.
I love that they don't even call it. Everyone calls it season 1, 2, and 3. It's Stranger Things, Stranger Things 2, and Stranger Things 3.
Yep.
Which is so 80s. And so 80s. I actually own the Blu-ray copies of both the first and second season. The Target exclusives that are like in the VHS.
Me too.
The second one was clamshell and stuff. Like the old school clamshells, the black gray ones that were kind of like, leather-bound book material looking, but clear.
It had to click.
The thing. You had to make sure it was.
So it's important to bring this up. There's a hero's journey, and each season has a very particular hero's journey and an anti-hero journey, which is really cool for the 3rd season. But you watch it, and it's almost impossible not to make story parallels to Star Wars in this. And I don't know, it's a period piece, just like Star Wars is a period piece.
First season has a Han Solo arc, right?
Oh my God, yes, it does.
I mean, even the show did it twice, where it made me hate. Well, yeah, I mean, when do we want to put the line of we're gonna start talking spoilers? Because I want to like to talk about heroes' journeys. You need to bring up some of those amazing heroes' journeys. But
you know what, we can do it. Let's do it. So if you haven't watched season 3 or any of Stranger Things, and you don't want to be spoiled about
if you haven't watched any Stranger Things, get on it right now. Leave right now.
Our feelings won't be hurt.
Go. We'll see you in like 40 hours.
After you finish that, you come back and listen.
Come back and listen. Make sure to take plenty of Gatorade.
Yes.
And eat for the love of everything good.
Eat a bunch of Eggos.
Stay hydrated. Drink water. Don't drink Gatorade. Just drink water.
New Coke and eat Eggos.
The whole time. And don't get off your couch. Don't stop. Don't get off your couch. I'm sure it'll work out fine. Anyway, then go get a big gulp from 7-Eleven after you're done.
There you go. Cherry, not strawberry. Cherry, not strawberry. Anyway. So the hero's journey thing is really important because you have a character like 11 who...
Spoilers. If you're still here, get the heck out.
11 in the first season is such a great character, and they expand on her so well. But who is your hero's journey that you, or even anti-hero journey, that you were like, man, that was an unexpected and fantastic?
The one I love the most.
Okay.
Throughout the entire series, but season 1, even more in season 2, but the Han Solo arc in the first one is Steve effing Harrington.
Your boy, he's the greatest.
At first you're like, he's some kind of d-bag.
Douche,
and so much you're like, oh, he's just like a jerk. And
breaks old boy's camera. Oh
fresh,
yeah,
like Nancy and stuff. And then you find out he's like actually a good guy. He just like has these dirtbag friends who he like finally tells off, and he's like, no, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm not like you. And he goes off, and that whole sequence at the end, he goes from being, you think, this jerk douchebag dude who, when he shows up at the end to the house where Jonathan and
Nancy
were about to like fight the Demogorgon.
What is going on? So good.
He comes in, he's like, oh, this is what you're like. He gets mad for a second.
He's like,
then he like, they tell him to leave. He comes back in and freaking saves their lives. And it's like, I'm not because you think it's totally Han Solo because he saved his own skin. He's not gonna come back, and then he comes back and beats that thing with the signature weapon, the baseball bat with nails, man.
So
my
sick.
Gosh.
When he flipped it and nailed the Demogorgon. Oh, dude. And then Jonathan
about Babysitter Steve, man. Steve is the best babysitter ever. He's the babysitter you want for your kids in Hawkins, Indiana, where there are interdimensional monsters running amok.
Well, then the best is you get baked Steve in season 3. You get stoned out Steve.
Oh my gosh. Them talking about, and we're getting into season 3 now. Them talking about Back to the Future.
Oh my God.
Water fountain.
Yep.
Absolutely hysterical.
That's amazing. We've all been there.
How awesome. What I love about the show is they go through all the kids are getting into all the stuff that I was into too. Like, but as it came out. So like they've got like the Star Wars toys, the Millennium Falcon, and that is a newer Star Wars Millennium Falcon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
In the first season that 11 is levitating.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a newer one. But don't quote me on that. We'll have to ask Andy. And honestly, Andy in our chat when we said we're talking about this said he's a big Stranger Things fan, so he's probably pretty ticked that we didn't have him on to talk about this. But anyway.
So and then in season 3 they had one of these.
Season 2 is Ghostbusters, man. Yeah.
Season 3 had the Kenner R2. So awesome.
The season 2 going for it went for like a Ghostbusters Aliens vibe. Oh, yeah. It was like James Cameron's Aliens, the end, where it's like it's like the first one had alien in it, whereas like it's one monster that is very dangerous. And the second one's like, we're up in the ante. It's a bunch of monsters.
Well, so one thing I want to bring up is the thing about Stranger Things, where it's a lot like Star Wars, okay? And it's very interesting to bring this up because Star Wars is not a genre piece, though it has several genres in it, just like Stranger Things. Stranger Things is one part John Hughes high school comedy, one part thriller, one part coming of age, one part scary horror, one part drama, government thriller. Like it literally is like it's the craziest thing, but you watch it and your brain doesn't make those connections till it's kind of all said and done. And when you take it apart in its own weird way, you realize Star Wars is just the same exact thing. Star Wars is a Western. Star Wars is a thriller. Star Wars even might have some horror aspects in certain scenes. Star Wars is also one big part, a hero's journey and then an anti-hero journey. And like, I don't know, there's force using in its own weird way in Stranger Things. There's Jedi mind tricks, and there's all types of very interesting, I guess, magical or mythical monster things happening. There are obvious good and bad guys in Stranger Things. So there's a lot of parallels you can really make just in the idea of storytelling, and the people that have done it are, I mean, no episode leaves you unsatisfied. Like truly, there's no episode that doesn't, no line is wasted, nothing. Dude, it's so
the first season, I'd have to watch again the other seasons, but
yes,
every episode has a killer ending.
Oh yeah.
Like, from the last shot.
Oh yeah.
To the credit music, whatever it is, all perfectly chosen. Perfect. Especially the episode, I think it's where Barb, God bless her heart, poor Barb, she deserved better. When she gets pulled into the swimming pool and screaming Nancy and stuff. And then it just cuts to the what is the song? I've got the soundtracks as well. I'm Stranger Things crazy, dude. Yeah. Like, seriously,
I don't know that. Take my
it's no. Like, it's one of. It's oh, dude. It's like a rockin', like it's like a. It's
is that when Nancy and John were hooking up?
They're hooking up, and she's like calling for help, and she gets pulled into the pool, sucked into the pool.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up too, guys. Here you go. Bombadcast, looking stuff up.
So, well, in that regard, you watch this show, and I don't know. To me, it's just like not Nancy and John, Nancy and what was Joe Keery's? Why can't I think of it? Oh, Steve. Sorry,
Steve Harrington, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Here it is. I can't find it right here. Hold on.
I think it's Hazy Shade of Winter.
Okay. I
think.
Okay. Well, regardless, whenever you watch this show, there's some things that are super transcendent in terms of I don't know, in terms of storytelling, like the use of the soundtracks, the use of its own music. It's incredible. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. And can
you hear it? I'm actually playing it. I hope we don't get a YouTube strike. I'm going to turn it down now. That's what I think. But it's like it starts out really, and then it goes. Yeah. Here, I just want to hear the kick.
Oh yes.
That's where it like kicks into the credits. She gets pulled in the pool, and then.
Yeah. Amazing.
Kidding me with that transition, dude.
When oh boy, when the head of Hawkins newspaper gets knocked out by his daughter, and it's American Pie by Don McLean. My mom is American Pie, and the credits roll. I'm like,
oh dude, in the third season. Oh yes. Man, see, I think I'm gonna end up watching this again, dude.
Listen to it while you're at work.
Well, like a podcast. Like I'm probably gonna listen to the soundtracks tomorrow. Honestly, I've got the third season soundtrack too, man. It's so killer, dude. Killer. So, what you guys tell us in the comments and on Twitter, tweet at us if you want us to do some watch-alongs. Maybe.
Oh, we would love to.
Kind of like just. Dude, let us know. Let us know if you want us to do maybe with some we can bring in Andy, maybe some of the other Beyond the Blast people, some special guests to kind of watch along with us, in this crazy time. Maybe especially as we get closer to we're gonna have some big stuff coming up towards Halloween anyway. But man, hey, just let us know. Let us know. We want to do some cool stuff with you guys. But dude, How do they do that every season? They have
know.
the best every ending.
It's fantastic.
I've never seen a show nail it every episode.
And that's the thing.
Absolutely, I have to go to the next one.
Exactly.
Or it is so late. I have to go to bed. I have work this morning, but it's going to hurt putting my head on the pillow tonight because what's happening? You know?
What the thing about it is that in the show itself, it also references Star Wars. And there's one really big one at the beginning of season 3 where Dustin's coming home and he's like, this is Gold Leader. And I'm like, oh, so good. And Eric's like, hey, you heard that? And I'm like, yeah, man, we're watching it together. And there's just like, 11 lifts up the Millennium Falcon. There's a Kenner R2-D2 rolling through.
Who's the person who says they're pulling a Lando? It's Lando.
Oh.
It's Lando. Is it Hopper?
No, Hopper wasn't. I don't think Hopper was that in on Star Wars.
It's either season 1 or season 2. It's like,
might have been season 2.
It's Lando.
Oh, I don't remember. Damn it.
It's like they pretended to be the friend, and then yeah.
It's just one of these shows that's self-referential to everything 80s. And if you're a big 80s guy, or if you grew up in the 80s, it's so satisfactory. And, my parents both were in high school and they graduated in 84. So they went from 80 to 84 in high school. And I've asked them, was it really like similar? She goes, this show really has nailed the costuming, has nailed the music, the aesthetic of that era. It's been perfectly hit. And for a show to do a period piece to its core perfectly is incredible. And I don't know, the whole arcade aspect, there's things that I'm nostalgic for that I didn't even experience when I watched that show. And to a certain extent, because growing up, I don't know if you know this about me, Jerry, but I love the show. I love the 80s. And that's what I would watch on weekends when I was bored.
I would just have it on. Yeah. If I was bored.
Dude, and then back then they had the MTV or VH1 Classic channel where you could literally tune in and watch all those old videos. So growing up, I was one of my few friends or people that I even knew that knew all about 80s culture. And it helped me well into high school whenever my coaches or teachers would give me a hard time. But literally watching this show, I know every reference backwards and forwards, or sometimes I'm watching with Katie or whoever and it kind of goes over their head. I'm like, oh, well, this is literally a reference to 16 Candles visually, or the whole mall culture, or even the idealism of the 80s with capitalism.
Want to go to a mall.
I know.
So like a full, and we have a good mall close by, we're across from our church, basically.
Yeah.
Really good, still good mall. It's got a great movie theater and everything. Sure. And it's just, but to have that culture of going there with your friends and just hanging out all day.
Yep.
Dude, I was never one of those dudes who was that's for girls because toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
And,
see,
so
I worked at a mall for years, and I loved it.
I did for a little bit at our local mall.
Did you see?
My cousin owned a shop.
So nice.
Bath shop. It was called Bath. This has nothing to do with my name. It was called Bath Junkie. It's not where I got my name.
That's incredible. That's actually really funny. And
I'm just now putting that connection together.
There we go. There's just all kinds of weird things the Reagan era, of America, capitalism. There's a lot of pride in your country, and there's also a lot of the Cold War was happening. A lot of cover-ups were also happening in terms of secret agendas for other people. And the show, just every season is a different, and it always has a different main genre. Whereas this most recent one was Russian, infiltration, which was classic Cold War storytelling. And you mentioned a couple of shows that it reminded you of.
If I could, it is Red Dawn meets The Thing.
Yes, it is.
Big time.
Yes.
And I mean, other things stuffed in there too.
Of course.
But it is, I love this show so much because I love the nebulous.
It's perfect.
The 80s came up with the craziest cool ideas.
It did. Yes.
Ghostbusters, where these dudes have backpacks that shoot proton lasers that catch ghosts that don't really look like people. They look like crazy bulbous monster things.
Yes.
Insane. Who would come up with that today?
It's
have to make it make sense. But back then they were just like,
Yep.
this is the world we live in.
Yep.
And here's what we do. And people just took it for what it was. They went on an adventure and they came up with stuff in the 80s, man. And like, that's what this show celebrates. And let me ask you this, because one of the biggest things that this show is criticized for is basically being like a nostalgia drug. Like, it is just nostalgia. Like, people, there's the big thing these days with poo-pooing nostalgia, which there's some merit, I think, in the idea of not liking a thing just because it is nostalgic. But for me, a lot of the times when people are complaining on, it referenced this thing from the past, it's not as much like, I mean, it is because I remember that thing. To me, it's not like you're heavy-handed, ham-fisted trying to like force me to remember things, like South Park's Member Berries episode.
Yes.
Funny, don't agree, but some things can try to do it. There is a tone that if you hit it, you pay homage to the source material.
Yes.
And also, they just, nowadays they're paying more attention to what came before.
Sure.
Where they used to go like, just make a new thing.
Uh-huh.
You know?
See,
we need more new things. We need more new things, but how you play with stuff, they came up with all the cool ideas in the 80s right now. Yeah. So someone has to come up with the next cool idea.
But their cool idea was to take everything that was good back then and make it even better. And that's the important thing. It's for you as a viewer to make that decision if you are gonna be picky about what you eat. You know, me, right. I never have been. And you watch that show, and if you really take it in and you really take the time to learn it and understand it, I mean, seriously, dude, it's one of the best out there. And everything is just so well done. Everything is so cared for. They're really, you know, and when this is an important thing, and Eric and I talked about this the other night, really important to say that when you write dialogue for kids or even teens or even people in high school, it's so easy to mess that up and like not write to that character and like make it cringy and make it not good. And honestly, there has never been a moment in this show where I'm like, man, if that's not on point for that character or for what that character is going to become or what it means to be this age experiencing this kind of thing, like it's phenomenal. And like, you've got so many different characters that have grown into themselves essentially. And like, you know, you got a kid like Will, who has just been, his childhood was taken away from him like 4 years ago.
That like his whole arc in this third season where he's just like mourning the loss of his childhood.
Yes.
Going on without him. It's like this dude has, I just want to hug that guy.
I know.
Keep your purity, man. Keep that purity.
Oh my God. I don't know all the actors and actresses' names, but when you watch this show, it's just some of the best Literally, Jerry, I'm emotional. You know that. You've seen the reaction video. But I'm emotional. I
don't show it as much on here, but I am a very emotional person too. Like, people don't get it, man.
When you watch Star Wars, it's emotional because what it does to you personally. But when you watch how the kids act in this show, literally, it's some of the best acting I've ever seen in my entire life. Like when Will is breaking Fort Byers, this dude here was crying because you know that feeling whenever you feel like your childhood's gone. Like, you know that. You realize as an adult, it's been like, wow, I don't have this anymore. I'm done. I'm mad, you know?
Dude, like, there are times when like Joyce Byers, Will's mom, like that woman is
the
powerful.
Best. I love
it because they always play it like everyone thinks she's crazy, but it's like she is the only person who ever knows what's going on.
Exactly.
Start freaking listening to Joyce.
Yep. When the magnets are falling off the fridge.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's always like something weird. She's like, no, this isn't normal. But
yes,
there are moments with her and Will being a parent that hit so freaking hard.
Oh yeah.
Bring me to I can't remember it like off the top of my head right now, but dude, there is what is the moment at the end of season 2, the saddest I think I've ever been in anything? At the dance when
dude, I cried like a baby.
Justin comes in and the people like no one like will dance
No
with
one?
him. And Nancy comes, the
Dude,
one he was flirting with at the beginning of season 1, and oh my gosh,
I cried like a baby.
I was like so just like I feel like these every time I watch the show, I feel like these kids are like my kids. Like I want to take them in and be friends with them and be kind to them and teach them what they need to. You know, it's just like I just want to hang out with them too because they're like Steve Harrington and all of them are like such cool people, and like you would always be safe if a monster attacked.
Yes.
But I just there's something about all of that, like just the whole with Hopper and Joyce.
Oh yeah.
Hopper's whole thing. Oh, that's some of the stuff with Hopper and 11 in the second season and in this new season really got me.
Oh, I bet.
A father and a daughter, dude.
I bet.
Where he's just like, I think when he was reading, when he was like reading she was reading the letter he wrote to her. Dude, I was ugly crying. I was bawling my eyes out.
It's brutal.
It's beautiful and horrible. And he, like, that is her dad.
Yeah.
The only father she has ever known. The guy who she called Papa, the horrible man in black that he was. Evil man. And she is like, it's just your heart goes out to these kids, man. Like they know. And this show was the first thing in a long time, which a lot of people really like the new It Chapter 1 and 2 and say it really did a lot of cool things, you know, that modern horror doesn't do. But Stranger Things came first.
It did.
They made the blueprint again. It was like, go back. They made movies in the 80s. They let the kids, like they talked like normal kids do.
Yeah, they curse
language and stuff. And like they say they try to get away with stuff around their parents.
Of course.
Their parents. And they actually put them in danger. Like kids are in dangerous situations. And that's hard.
Oh yeah.
It's horrifying and it's horrible. And you're like, no, there was a couple of there was some things we can talk about the Mind Flayer melting the people. Which is probably my top most horrifying, horrible, disgusted, but yet most amazing. Like it raised the stakes.
Oh, it did.
So high. It was my favorite monster of any of the seasons yet. It was, these stakes were higher than they have ever been.
This is where we differ a little bit because Eric loved it a lot too. And trust me, I love the storytelling aspect of it. I love where it went.
I was playing.
But the Demi Gorgon from the first one was like perfect because they had the Bigfoot part of it where it was like, I thought I saw this thing, but it wasn't.
There's a shot that will forever like haunt me, and it is when he first encounters it, you see the shape moving. It's not that one. It is when he gets to his house, unlocks the door, and peeks out the blinds, and the you've got the stuff kind of blowing in the breeze.
Yeah.
I've been to houses like that. I used to live in a house like that, and that's horrifying. Living out in the country is way worse than living in the city for me. Like, seriously, dude, it's like anything could happen. And you see the shape coming, and it just looks like a long, lanky, like person. Like, no! No!
He gets the gun. He's holding the gun. He's shaking. And then and the light gets brighter, and then it just goes off. Dude. And it's something, there's something about it to where
I think it's iconic.
Yes, you can get lost in it. And like, it's just like Star Wars in that sense. It's almost like you can't put it down till you're really done, you know? And like, you've got to be able to, you know, follow the story well. And there's a lot to it, you know? There's a lot of family and relationship drama that you have to keep up on. And there's a lot, the best thing is that Star Wars hasn't tapped into, there's a weird tone of sexuality in it that I think is fantastic, you know? TV shows stray away from that now. And like, if it is, it's really campy or it's
sexual
really
tension or something.
Yeah. Dude, literally like these kids learning how to kiss for the first time. Like, we've all been there. Don't act like you haven't been there. Don't act like that's like something
don't try to make it sexy. Cause it's for one thing, that's weird.
And they don't. That's what makes it real. You watch it, it's uncomfortable. And then that's what it's supposed to be. Cause we were all there. It's awful. You know?
11 and Mike's interactions
they're like
are so like, well, but I mean their interactions when they're fighting and stuff are like
that age, dude.
All of their like the guys are giving him like advice.
It's
the worst advice ever. It's like,
So
oh my
good.
gosh, this is so like they were like it's ridiculous and it is too perfect. And,
oh, dude, literally, like we've all been there. And then like when Nancy and Steve get it on, and it's like it's so reminiscent of me of like what it was to be young, and I'm not even that old. But like 10 years ago, I had my first like real girlfriend, and I remember like, just growing up and like understanding how a relationship works and then dating other people when you're in high school and how weird that is. And like nothing captures it better than this show. And then like even you watch Joyce, who has had a divorce, and then she meets Bob, and dude, talk about cry when
F you, Samwise. Why do you?
Dude, I know. So that's important to bring up too.
Because she deserves a guy that and again, that was at that time. It was like she deserved him, a guy who was good and nice and is.
Dude, it's incredible. It's incredible because you watch this show and you're like, we all know a person like this, and
they don't pull away when he gets horribly disemboweled by Demodogs.
Nope. You need to see
it. The camera pans. It keeps cutting back to it. We were crying at my house because we loved it. We were cheering for him so much because we were like, he comes across like he's going to be really scary, and everyone was mad at him for telling Will to tell that thing to get away from him.
Get away,
know that he was dealing with an interdimensional demon, like smoke demon.
Yeah.
He thought it was like a dream. Like, give the guy a break. And like, I was pulling for him the whole time. Like, he's going to be a good guy. And he's going to end up, he's not going to be cowardly. He's going to be brave. And he was.
Yep.
The whole time. Sorry. Bob Newby.
It's amazing.
Same as Barb. They deserve so much better.
And then
this show.
The show's good about establishing characters you don't know anything about in the beginning. And then towards the end, dude.
It makes you love them.
Alexi, amazing character. Barely had a line. Like, you know what I mean?
That scene though with him, and I love the what is his name?
Murray,
who they introduced in season 2.
That's you.
Which, by the way,
that's you, Jerry. Down to his core. Jerry is. Oh my god!
I think I'm a little more what is it? Friendly and more. I think I have more charisma than Murray.
So who do you think you are? Let's ask that question.
Steve Harrington.
You are. You're Steve. That wouldn't surprise me.
Honestly, I'm probably what is Mike's dad's name? The dude who's just always like,
oh my god, I don't remember his name. He's like,
my chicken or something.
He's at the fair and he's like, he does not like this, and he's so odd, so across his face.
His wife is like this close to having an affair because he's like an old fart that sits in a chair all the time and everything, and he is just like Ted. Ted is his name. Ted. I freaking love Ted. Way to go, Ted.
Yeah.
He goes like that. That's my favorite line. He walks in and he goes, "What did I do?"
It's so good. It's
that
so
dude,
good.
Oh, he can. Oh, that dude brings it.
See, that's the charm of it, though. You have these characters you can relate to. Yeah.
And, I mean, every '80s movie had those dynamics in it too. It's like
there's another.
But they play them more. They don't play them as. They play them more modernly, more realistically in this, but it still has those like archetypes.
Yes, definitely. And there's one thing I wanted to bring up too that I think is very important is that you watch the show and your reasoning, the reasoning for the show is phenomenal because they don't have cell phones. There's not many things that can get them out of a situation. So you have to think like you're in the 80s when you write it and you watch it.
Well, that's why people have been going more back to the nostalgic things because it's harder to do something these days because we've got technology. Which
the only show that I've ever seen
later
that does it well. The only movie that I've ever seen that does the modern era technology well is Uncut Gems. And if you haven't seen that, it's on Netflix. They do it so well, but you'll see when you watch it, it'll make sense. It's great.
It's not a horror movie. Now there's action and thrillers and different things like that do technology very well. There's some that like do things absolutely. Knives Out
Yes, another good one.
Actually,
Dude, that's a really good example.
The way that it felt of a time and yet timeless.
Yep.
That's just the magic of Rian Johnson. If you
Exactly.
disagree with that, bye. We'll see you later. Bye. I don't know why I said that so sexually.
Anyway,
so, you gonna hear my thoughts on the monster from season? Go ahead. What were you talking about, dude?
Well, bring up your monster. I want to say who I think I identify the most with.
Do it. I'll talk about the monster later. I just want to talk about why I think it's I'm gonna keep interrupting you. Okay, I'm gonna keep interrupting you. Say your thing. Say it. But I'm gonna keep interrupting you. I'm gonna let you
finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
Beyonce
had the best. Beyonce had the best music video. I'm just kidding.
I have to say real quick. I'm totally Kanyeing you. Anyway, when that happened, I was still in college and was still in like a drama group. We were having practice like a day or two after it happened, or the day it happened, the day after. Yeah. And someone was up there doing their lines, and I ran up on the stage the middle of it and went, I'm sorry. I'm like, finished, but Beyonce had the best video all time. It was, it killed. So I just had to say, I had the best joke of all time after Kanye did the best troll of all time. So go ahead.
So I feel like I've always identified with Steve's character, and not necessarily because not because of the handsomeness, but like he was the dude, and he's had, back in high school, I'm sure my dad wouldn't want me to admit this, but I had a lot of parties at my house without him knowing. And like, it was very similar to that. Just how it was,
You're a cool dude, like a cool dude, but like a down to earth, like do anything for you, dude. Right.
When you watch it, you realize like, he's not happy with that. And there was times in my high school career where I'm not trying to be this guy. I was on the homecoming court. I had a lot of success in my high school career. And plenty of those times I really was just not happy with who I was and where I was at. And you watch these seasons progress and you feel for Steve. You're like, man, he is not who everyone makes him out to be. He is actually a very careful and cautious dude for these kids. And he has a relationship with Dustin that's phenomenal. What every little boy, whatever young growing up kid needs is someone who's not that far in age that can like relate to them. And Troy was that for me growing up. Troy was literally, I was 13 when Troy was 18, and like, not that I can go to Troy for killing demons, but Troy and I would definitely talk, and he would be wiser than me. And Jerry, you were that for me. You're like 5 years older than me, and I look up to you.
I'm the Steve Harrington to your Dustin.
That has to be tweeted. That has to be the marketing campaign for this episode. There's gonna be
like a heart with us. Like I need to Photoshop our heads on like you on Dustin with the hat and everything, and even like the bite, the weird tooth.
Yes. And, like, oh my God, it's perfect.
And me with like the bat and stuff like
yes.
Yeah. Bombad's best babysitter, the Bombad babysitter. Oh snap! The Bombad babysitter. Boom.
That was so loud.
Sorry, I probably am like my whole house is probably awake now. Woke the dead.
Man.
Dude, you guys just witnessed the creative process happening right now. So it's literally all it is. It's a bunch of grunts and grunts.
To make a transition, though, we talked about Bombadcast always talks about our favorite like creatures and monsters from whatever in Star Wars, but this is one thing that show does so well is it establishes a weird lore that I didn't expect. It has a monster lore. It's got a otherworldly lore that, for the most part, most shows are not brave enough to do. And you watch this show and you become more invested in how this lore, how these creatures work, how all of this works. And this is one of the few shows that you're like, oh, this literally logically it makes sense. And there's a whole area called the Upside Down world, which we don't have in Star Wars yet. Right. Waiting for Star Wars to steal that in some way. But
world between worlds.
Kinda. And you watch this show and you automatically just get super invested in how this whole entire thing operates. And you've got all kinds of creatures. And I said mine earlier was the original Demogorgon, and probably always will be, because it felt like Signs. It felt like E.T. in a weird way. It felt a lot like Alien, the original, and it felt a lot like Predator. It had all these aspects that I really like. But then we got Jerry over here, who I know is a horror, gore. No, really, I know you like that stuff. Yet,
I'm not like crazy, but I love like the sci-fi. I love sci-fi horror.
Yes.
The Thing is one of my all-time. Like, if you have not ever seen The Thing,
yes,
do yourself a favor. Even if you're not into really horror, it's just a cool film. It still holds up, and they even show, if you've seen the bits of it in Stranger Things, they're watching it. The science teacher is watching it with his girlfriend.
Yep.
Like,
you'll like this, Jerry. A lot of the lighting for Owl's Nest, which we've been working on a lot more lately, was inspired by The Thing. So I'll send you some clips. Oh, I know the blue lighting of that movie. Yeah.
And
so
I'll even say I actually enjoyed the newer Thing that came out that in the 2000s, 2011 or 12 or something.
Yeah.
I understand it's like a prequel basically, but it was cool seeing that with modern CGI. It's still cooler when it's like the horrifying animatronics, but they used there's actually a lot more animatronics used for that than you would think, and I was horrified at the things that were animatronic, because one of the big things at the end was animatronic, and I was like, no, that can't be a real thing that exists in a warehouse somewhere. I don't want that to exist in a warehouse, because it's we say Cronenberg. It has a very Cronenberg feel. I haven't watched much Cronenberg, but I know what Cronenberg is. It's horrifying, weird, gross, gory stuff. It's not my favorite.
Surreal.
But
it's also surreal.
Yeah. Did he do that? Did he do that?
Fly?
That movie? He did The Fly, but did he do that one movie where it was like the rich people would get together and stuff, and like this one guy got in there and he found out they were having orgies, but they did this weird like satanic orgy where they
Eyes Wide Shut. That's Kubrick. That's Kubrick, I think. Right? Or
Kubrick?
No?
Is that Eyes Wide Shut?
I don't think
it's not Eyes Wide Shut, but it's like they all melded into. I just like looked at pictures of it because I heard someone talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrifying. Yeah. I don't want to remember that. Anyway.
Look at it. No.
Well, like Rick and Morty had the Cronenberg episode. They turn everyone into a planet full of Cronenbergs and stuff like that. But just the whole that whole concept of The Thing, where it's like an alien that hides in plain sight, but then it just like
it's great.
It's a cool concept, man. Yes. And The Thing from the 80s, like John Carpenter's The Thing, was a remake from a 50s movie.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure, man. Like
exactly. It's if it works, don't fix it. Like truly, like and like
it's Lovecraftian. I like the monsters that are Lovecraftian that unsettle you, right?
Yes.
Like, give me a monster that if it's supposed to be scary, make it like that thing shouldn't be alive. Like, what is that?
See, there's a really important thing to get brought up is that this show has like H.R. Geiger's, alien design. It's got a design.
It's very Lovecraft and Geiger.
Yes, you've got the flower face thing where a flower you associate with something beautiful, but then you see it and this thing is eyeless. It's got a flower face with nothing but teeth, and you see how it eats, and you see
like
how
it does. Like a lamprey on a man's body. Oh, so
it's good. Perfect. It's perfect. And you know what, Eric Cotterman, he is a big fan of the Godzilla stuff, and he's a huge Godzilla fan. And I think he identified most of that most recent season because there's even a Godzilla aspect where they're in the mall destroying the mall, and it's like I have a hard time saying things are perfect because there's always a little bit of flaw, but truly when I watch this show, I don't know what could have been done better. I could even
every part of the Battle of Starcourt is amazing.
God.
And I love that they called it the Battle of Starcourt.
It's amazing.
And, oh my gosh, they're so brilliant. I love it.
So
it sounds so epic, but it's a mall with a JC Penney.
But how relatable is that? It's so relatable.
Oh my gosh! When Eleven throws the car, by the way, and just takes out the Russian guys. Sorry, there's too many moments like that.
there's something that I have to bring up now because
for
you
it.
were mentioning how good the writing is. We both been talking about how good the writing is. The guys who make it, the Duffer Brothers, this is like one of their only projects they've ever done, and they've poured their heart into it, and they've studied
gosh.
all things real and fake, and they love Stephen King, and they love filmmaking, and they're young. I think they're just like in their early or their mid 40s. They're young, and like you watch this,
they're just
and
getting started, dude.
you watch this, and you're like how? And my big thing, my mantra for this episode, and I think we might even title it this: the Duffer Brothers need to make a Star Wars.
Mhm.
They need to. And if you disagree with me, click off right now because I'm
Get
not
off
gonna
your
lie.
Duffer brothers and make a Star Wars.
There we go. So you watch the show and you can't tell me you don't feel something, number one, but it's just amazing storytelling. And Star Wars is great. I love everything about it. I've watched it. We do this literally every Sunday. It's my favorite thing. But if there was any way that Star Wars could get better and have moments of more expansion, new characters to fall in love with, extremely good cliffhangers,
Oh my gosh.
they should get a show. Like they took so many different things and they George Lucased it, and they even merchandise it like George Lucas. They have like Stranger Things action figures, Stranger Things
I
pillowcases.
wish they were more available because they're not as like
only at
prevalent.
Target. Yeah,
Because,
Target's
well, I mean, I've seen them at Walmart, but in like the electronics and like specialty toys stuff. Like I want to see, and I know it's not really it's more of a grown up, especially this last season. You talk a little bit about that, how this last season was the roughest of all. Like it was the most horrifying, gory season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me get some, because there were some reaction points in this season.
Sure.
When like where you would probably go, oh, what?
Yes.
What was your reaction when the rats started to explode in that one episode? Like, because it's no context. It's all these rats. You've seen them in the first couple episodes, and you're like, what's going on? And then they start popping.
Didn't gross me out, but when the one exploded in that old woman's house, and I love that old lady because
start crawling out.
My grandma, who's just like that, whose house looks like it's from '84, literally, like I felt like I was looking at my Nana when I was watching it, and like the way she responded to stuff was phenomenal. And then it crawled out and like blobbed across the floor, and then she's eating the fertilizer. I was like, dog, so good. What about you? What was your first impression of that, G?
Well, I mean, when the rats started exploding, I was like, what? I had to rewind it and go back and watch it because I'm like, why is that happening? Did we see what's going on? Why are the rats popping? And then when the one popped in the cage and crawled out, that's when I first went, it's the thing. It's the thing. The person pops and there's a creature inside, but this is like it's popped, but it's still alive. It's part of a whole now. Don't even get me started on how horrifying and sad to watch all those people, you see the little kids walking off from their parents.
Oh, yeah.
And they get assimilated into that. Those people melted.
Yeah.
They just became the creature. I'm still horrified and disgusted by it.
Like,
it's amazing, but it's also like I was so like upset. But also this is the coolest idea. Sure. But it is horrifying and it makes me sick as a parent that kid melted. Yeah. That first, like the girl that was helping Steve, the first person he turned and she got her parents, when she's like the first one like melts down, I was like, oh, she's so young. They're so young. Why?
This is gonna kind of jump back to what I was saying real quick. I'm sorry, Jerry. But
no, it's fine. That scene just sticks with me. It's stuck with me.
It's just great storytelling. And these people that make this story find a way to like
man.
They literally take what they established like in the first episodes and they build on it so well. By the time you're done, you're an expert in it. You understand why the rats explode. You understand where they came from. You understand the what do they call it? The mind flayer was that dark energy that left Will that then manifested all the rats. It's perfect.
When you see it, like, because that was my thing with the second season, as I thought that thing was going to reveal itself as I was like, that's a crazy looking monster in the trailer. Yeah. You just see this giant hulking, again, Lovecraftian.
Yep.
Like old god.
Very symmetric.
From another dimension.
Yep.
can we talk about how awesome it is? I love that there are no other shows that really have played so successfully with other dimensions.
Oh yeah, and it makes
in the
sense.
way this does, and it like be iconic and also like scary and like what it make you do what Jaws did for the water or what Alien did for space. What's out there? Is there something that horrifying?
Yes,
in the beyond, and that is just. Ugh.
That's what I loved about how it's written. Like, really, it all comes back down to how it's filmed and how it's written. And like, obviously, this show wouldn't do well from a movie. It just wouldn't. It has to be long form storytelling. It has to be an hour long. And you
don't think I would watch a movie later on, maybe like if it's like down the road and be like, oh, I'll go watch that. And it's like the big
accumulations of movie. Yes, I agree.
Or if it's like a trilogy, if they do it like a trilogy, so it's not like all one story, we're letting middle end.
Yes.
Kind of a thing.
Yes. And
sorry.
I mean, you're right. No. I like that because it's one of these few shows that's started out really small. Like the season 1 story is about a boy who disappears and that's it. And he comes back. And there's not even that much of a cover up. Season 2, we get a little bit bigger. We've got a couple people that go away, and that's about it. Then you get season 3, and season 3 is like 30 people go missing. It becomes a news special at the end of the show. You're like,
oh my gosh, how crazy is they changed? Oh, dude, I'm getting chills thinking about it when they're like someone spray painted hell on Hawkins. Yep. I'm like, because it's like the sleepy little town, but now people are like. Horrifying things are happening here.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm getting like chills because it's just I love things like that.
Too, brother.
Where it's like these like your call to step up, like the beyond comes to take you and drag you into the darkness, into the void.
Good word.
You have to fight, man.
Yes.
You have to fight. Like, are you gonna fight? Are you gonna get like
in one thing,
it also shows it's not very unrealistic to me that the kids and all them like fight it. You know, I mean, one of the kids has superpowers, obviously. Two of them technically now, because Will kind of has like, you know, the
Sixth Sense, like, Spider-Man.
But you've got these like they're heroes now and stuff like these kids are veterans. They've done stuff that no kid should ever have to endure.
No.
But they're normal and they're kids and they're people. And it's these people who are like Joyce and Hopper. You just want these people to be happy. You want the best for them. And it's real people that you see yourself in.
Yes.
And you go, would I fight like that?
Exactly.
To save other people.
Yeah.
To save my family or just to make sure that this thing didn't hurt anybody else.
Yeah.
What would you do? And
it's beautiful.
Man, so it's that question, dude. It's that question.
There's one thing that has to get brought up as well is when a show is made like this, there is a huge part of cultural impact, but there's also a part of it you have to kind of take a second and say, well, wait, could this happen? And, you know, these kids go through a lot. And like you said, they are veterans by the end of these battles. And like, I mean, you don't know. You never know if things like this happen in real life or not because of the government cover-ups, because of the things that come out later, you know, 50 years on the line, Roswell stuff, you know, like things slowly start to unravel. And that's what the show does well is since it's a period piece, you watch it and you're like, wow, you know, like it could be written off, you know? And one important thing I want to mention is this show, for anyone that loves the Marvel series, this show has at the end of every season the Marvel team up you've been waiting for. One character, one group.
The Avengers come together.
And they had the hero shot. Oh yeah. One group is going through one thing that'll aid the other group going through another thing that will aid the other group going through something else. So when all the puzzle pieces connect, you as a view, I'm getting chills. You as a viewer,
they all come together.
Oh, dude.
They each figure out a different part of the mystery and come together and like we have the full picture. Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Yep. Like the Russian infiltration. Then you have Hopper and Joyce figuring out, you know, why is this Russian guy chasing us? Then you figure out, you know, the kids are dealing with everything, you know, everything with the I guess the Billy's been doing, and like you watch it and it's just so believable. And I don't know, like I'm in love with this show, and I almost feel bad for taking a break for so long, but I don't have to wait as long for the next season now. It's a little bit sooner.
honestly thinking I'm gonna like start it again soon.
Yeah, the whole series. Might as well.
Right. Well, you were mentioning though, when you look at projects, modern projects, like even Ghostbusters, and other 80s movies, it's all most of like things that are successful are based on some sort of source material.
Sure.
Either a true account, right?
Yes.
And so I think this is what you were alluding to.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, you've got Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd is actually a huge, like his family are paranormal investigators. His family were like Ghostbusters is almost based on his family, their interests, right? It's like they were paranormal investigators and stuff. Like he grew up doing that. That's what he wants to do. And there's a lot of like, just honestly, if you listen to Dan Aykroyd talk about his real world experience, he like actually still investigates this stuff.
I bet.
He was about to get his own show, Scotty. If you want to come back in. He had his own show. He was going to have his own show. This is a story he told on a podcast, I believe. And he was like pitching some stuff and then had to go outside for a smoke. And he was out there and he felt like someone looking at him, felt a presence, looked across the street. There was what he describes as a man in black. Like from not the Tommy Lee Jones.
No.
What they're based on, which is even more horrifying, which we can
talk about that too one day.
We're going to talk about that. It's one of my favorite things.
Yes.
Also horrifying. But he said that the guy was like making eye contact with him and there was a car, like he was standing by a car, like a black car. And then he turned around, someone called his name. He turned around for a second and then turned back to look and it was all gone. The car and the guy were gone. That he went in, dude, and they said the show's canceled. They're not going to do the show anymore.
Wow.
Insane. But anyway, so you've got that's just because I brought up Ghostbusters. You guys have probably seen Ghostbusters was my first love when I was a kid. But with this, I haven't read the book, but it's based on a book called the Montauk Project.
Oh yeah,
Montauk is like an island it's like Long Island, part of Long Island or whatever. And it's this conspiracy theory about, I think that's like a fictional account of based on a true conspiracy theory, like
it's a government facility.
That's like an oxymoron, but essentially that the CIA were like conducting time travel experiments with, I think just people, the populace, right? That is what the whole premise of even the first season is based off of, where you've got this big facility out in the woods. You don't know what it's for. It says Department of Energy. And then you see that they have these children who have gifts, who they are like basically treating like lab rats.
Yeah. This is a real project too.
It's trying to come up with a way to spy on the Russians, right?
Yes.
It's like, so, and you essentially, the bad guys in the first season are the Men in Black. They're not like but it's more of the shadowy government. Like, we don't know. These are like guys who are above everyone else. And they're like, they will do anything to protect their secrets.
Exactly.
Which is like, it's black ops, like crazy stuff, and that, I mean, I haven't read Montauk Project, but the whole series dips its toe in all kinds of paranormal things. You've got
MK Ultra. That was a real thing. That was a real test.
MK Ultra,
they were real test.
LSD's power to give people like mind powers. Yeah. For it was real. Some people got messed up, man. Like seriously, but this thing, it's not just with the laboratory government experiments, like the things like the shadowy government agencies or the Men in Black, who are almost otherworldly beings. You've got these strange creatures coming from nowhere that they're there and then they're gone, right? Bigfoot, whatever. And in the show, you've got like it sleeks into a tree and then the portal closes up and all that kind of stuff. And it just dips its toe in so much, man. It dips its toe in like Possession with the second season, and all of these just weird things, conspiracies, cover-ups. even down to the Russians trying to do the same thing on American soil under a mall.
Yes. So
like
good.
It gave me the vibes of people talk about how the Colorado or what is it? The Denver airport is like a big, like weird place.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen all that stuff about that?
Yeah.
The mural that's been painted over, but there's like the big underground stuff, tunnels that they closed off because some kind of mold or something.
Yeah.
And so people are naturally like, what's going on? The human brain does that. But that's what I love about this show is it takes all of that kind of stuff and it stuffs it in with the 80s nostalgia.
Yes,
it's
it works.
It's not just based on well, depending on what your definition of bullcrap is. It's not just like something they came up with it, but it is also inspired by true life things.
Exactly.
And honestly, like the farther you get into that kind of stuff, the deeper the rabbit hole goes, the more you're like, oh wow, a lot of stuff that seems unrealistic on movies are some things that people have actually. Well, people have actually reported seeing like weird things, whether you believe they did or not.
Yeah,
if it was a hallucination. It's actual accounts of things that people talk about, and so anyway, it's just beyond strange. So
Jerry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Seems like you want to bring up something that you're very proud of, and that I'm also very proud of, that you and I are both involved in. That might be I think the word's Patreon exclusive.
Is it Patreon exclusive? Do we have a Patreon exclusive thing? What is it a Patreon exclusive fanny pack that we're working on? Is it a Bombadcast fanny pack that looks like a booba?
From what I've heard is that it's your brainchild, and I want you to kind of elaborate on what. Yes, you've heard it here first, folks. The Bombadcast's first Patreon exclusive show is going to be. Jerry, what do we have going on with that?
Well, Scotty, and I'm trying to send you the image, but it's not.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
this
if
message
or not. I'm trying to, and my phone is not working, so I think the aliens are here and probably coming for me. I need to stop. I'm going to freak myself out.
I found it. I'll put it on the screen.
You can put it up if you want here in a second, but we are, as you just heard, I'm kind of a ooky spooky person. I don't fall hook, line, and sinker for everything. I think conspiracy theories are interesting. I think that I'm really into the weird, cryptid, weird, like paranormal stuff. I think it's interesting. I have stories of things I have experienced, Scotty, that are, I believe, we're going to get into our own experiences on our first episode. But this show that we are dropping, it is a monthly Patreon exclusive show.
What is it called?
I believe that we haven't talked about this with the group, but I think it is just you. If you are a Patreon of Beyond the Blast Doors Network, you will have access to a monthly weird paranormal news show called Scotty and Jerry's Beyond Beyond. Yes.
So awesome.
I am very proud of that cover right there. I just was feverishly working on my Canva app, and we're really crazy excited. Me and Scotty, we're gonna do think Bombadcast energy, talking about weird ooky spooky stuff. Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about some of the latest. Here's the things that I want to get into a little bit. I listened to a few paranormal podcasts. I want to get into more of what's the news that is happening right now in the world of weird, right? Like what is going on? Like there's a lot of stuff going on about the government disclosure about UFOs, right? Right now that's kind of going under the radar because our country's kind of in the pooper. But it again is stuff that is real and is happening in our world. Like at least there's some portion of it. There is a fragment of truth in a lot of this stuff. And we're going to take a look at it. We're going to take a look at the news stories, the new news that's happening. We're going to take a look at just topics. And I'm going to read some true accounts to Scotty and have him react to them. And we will discuss what we think it is, what's going on. We're going to get into specific cases, and we're going to get into the weird cases. Like we're saying, the weird cases. I'm big into weird cryptids and stuff like that. Not just the Bigfoots and stuff. Bigfoot's okay. He's old hat, man. I'm into the 3-legged, weird red-eyed dog thing that attacked people. I forget what it's called. It was in some place in
The chupacabra.
It wasn't a chupacabra. It had 3 legs.
Oh,
And 2 little T-Rex arms at the front and like red eyes and stuff. And it attacked a kid, and then it went next door and tried to get in while these kids were home alone too. Frightening. It's someplace in Illinois. This happened.
sick.
And like it was witnessed by a bunch of people. Like and the adults got home, and they were telling their parents about it. The thing came back and attacked. While the parents are there, the dad opens the door and just slams it and stuff.
Wow.
And he gets his gun and goes out there, shoots it, didn't even affect it.
Wow. See,
I like weird stuff. Like this is some sick, okay? If
This
you
is
are
some
checking out because you just like, you don't want to, I know some people don't want to hear it and stuff. We're going to talk about it. We're going to take it a little seriously, but we're going to have fun with it. We're not going to go in and believe everything. We're going to have a little bit of a critical eye and stuff. We're going to talk about, well, it could be this, but also, the thing that you can't recount, Scotty, is what we find on these things. You can say it could be X, Y, or Z, but if someone had an experience and with these things that happen paranormally, ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, whatever, it tends to be a personal experience. Like it was meant just for you to see it. And that's the unsettling thing about
that is 100%. And that's why I want to deliver this show, is because some listeners, some patrons as well, might feel like, man, I've had experiences that I want to share. And if you're not a patron yet and you like stuff like this, you won't get it unless you become a patron. And it might sound harsh, but look, it's something we feel like, if it's successful enough, if we get enough views and likes and comments on it, maybe we'll make it a regular show, Bombadcast, and also Beyond. But it's something that we're very excited to talk about, and it's new for us. And I don't talk about this on a regular basis. Jerry's going to freak me out. I'm not going to sleep some nights because Jerry's going to be good.
I'm not going to be able to walk up from my basement. I'm going to run, leaving every light on as I go upstairs.
I live in Louisiana, so it's already scary.
We'll talk about Michael. We'll talk about that thing that happened on 2Med 2, where I went upstairs and freaked out my wife because I thought that I saw something that turned out to be my hand. So don't let that deter you from listening, because anyway.
So
I'm already discrediting myself.
With all that being said, to kind of sum up these whole discussions, watch Stranger Things. You won't be disappointed.
Do it.
And also support us on Patreon, because you're going to get an exclusive show from Jerry and I. And that's pretty much wraps up everything.
Maybe if we get enough listeners or watch, I think we're going to be doing it. Look, we're going to be doing it this style, like Bombadcast, but it's going to be beyond. Okay. Yep. And we will throw up pictures and stuff, right? Okay? I'll try to do my homework and get as many pictures as I can. That will freak the heck out of Scotty and me, probably. But
let's let them know.
If we get enough, if we get enough people though watching Scotty, maybe like you said, if people have their own experiences, maybe we could do a call-in show every now and then. Or if it, it would be coast so to cool.
Radio, baby, just like that old show.
Coast to coast, coast to coast.
One thing I want to say too is expect the first episode for this to be mid-August. So probably mid to late August, the August 20th area. And you won't be disappointed. And Jerry.
By the time you're hearing this, man, that image is going to be dropping on Twitter. Like the announcement's going to be dropping on our social medias and all that stuff. And we're all super pumped. It's a passion project of mine. I'm gushing. But
Jerry's excited. I'm excited too, because Jerry's he's gonna learn me something big, like Finn did in TLJ.
We're gonna open your eyes to some things you probably wish you keep the Pandora's box closed.
Yes,
because once it opens, I will warn you guys. Once you open that box, once you stare into the void, sometimes it stares back, and then the box can't be closed. I use 2 analogies. Okay, you can cut back to both of us because I'm done. Sometimes when you stare into the void, it stares back, and if you open Pandora's box, you can't close this Pandora's box. Trust me, I've tried.
Stay Bombad. So, if you had fun today, subscribe, like.
If you're upset, just be nice.
Just be nice. Share it.
Why waste your energy disliking the video?
Give us 5 stars.
That energy? Take that energy and go out and feed a homeless person.
Join us on Patreon.
Take that energy, do it to spite us, okay?
Patreon.com/Beyond the Blast Doors.
Yeah. Wear a mask
Give
to the grocery
money.
store and
Homeless.
pretend you're smothering me with it.
If you want to keep up with us, beyondtheblastdoors.com. Don't forget to follow us at Bombadcast on Twitter. And if you want to leave us a phone call, you can call us at 331-2-BEYOND. That's 331-223-9663. Jerry, besides watch Stranger Things, besides join the Patreon to get our exclusive show, our first exclusive show,
Beyond, guys. Come on.
what should the good people do?
Well, Scottled.
Yes.
They should not only, I'm away from my mic, they should not only become a patron to get our Ookie Spooky show, Beyond, but they should also.
Okay.
I'm touching you.
Oh, sorry.
Stay Bombad. My magic.